All right. Hello, chat. How's it going? Hopefully well. We're back. We're playing more Metal Gear Acid, continuing with the New Game Plus playthrough slash card grind. It's a little bit of both. It's a combination. We do have to complete a full second playthrough because there's one specific card that you get as a reward from it at the end, but I don't necessarily need to complete that playthrough immediately. Like I can spend a lot of time grinding during the second playthrough, and just by the time that I finish it, have all the cards is kind of the plan, at least that I've been going with so far. And I've been doing it on extreme difficulty because it does double the payout. Continue is not what I want. I always hit continue. I want to load my game. Metal Gear. Whoa. That can opened so fast. My thumb basically just went straight through it. Like zero resistance. Okay, that kind of scared me. 50,000. That's right. I forgot I was trying to stockpile up a shit ton of points because the card shop can throw out mega rare cards on occasion that are super expensive, but you can buy them guaranteed if you have the points on hand for it. You stealth. I can do that. I can stealth my way through a little bit. I can definitely do that. Hold on. We're off to a good start. My stealth camo immediately. Oh yeah, he reduces the cost by 20. Forgot that card was absurd. Just do a little, little move. And a little subtract cost. And we keep her going. In one stealth camo, we'll pretty much be done with this. The USA has stolen 40K from Britain. The reveal of the new edition of 40K is tonight at 8 p.m. CDT US. The British will have to wait until 1 a.m. as a result. That's awesome. We are not the main audience. I mean, it was only a matter of time, right? Like with anything like that. It's hard to beat the deeply ingrained cultural consumerism of the United States of America. We spend money. We spend a lot of money. Most of the time that we don't have, or that we shouldn't be spending, but we spend a lot of money. We spend a lot. You guys do spend a lot. It was only a matter of time. 40K has been growing over here. 10 costs. Not my best, but I'll take it. Now I know I need at least a stockpile of 50,000 points while card grinding here. Minimum stockpile of 50K going forward. But at least this mission is really quick to rinse for easy 5K, regardless of which objective it is. This deck has been crafted to perfection. Reach the goal without being spotted is better just because it's faster. For those that weren't here the last time when I was feeling out all this and figuring out how to grind it quickly. Like, either objective works, but just reaching the objective without being spotted is way faster. Planning to cover the VR versions of RE4R and Village on PS5. I'm not a big VR guy. Plus, I don't have a PS5. So I have no plans of covering the VR version specifically. Bit of a weird card draw here. I need all my minus cost cards. They're the ones that let me fly through it so quickly. Might have to grab a PS5 when GTA 6 and Wolverine drop. I mean, might being the key word there. We'll see. GTA 6, maybe. Plus, I was just saying a couple weeks ago that I probably need to upgrade both of my consoles. Like, my Switch right now is fine. I currently don't cover anything that will ever, like, require me to use my Switch. But, like, both of my Xbox both my Xbox and my PlayStation could probably use an upgrade. I'm on the last gen for both of them. And some recent console use has not been awful, but like both of those systems are aging because I bought them in like 2013 and 2014 respectively. And they're having a rough time, man. They're really struggling. It'd be real cool if you played a good MGS game. This is a good one. It's not one of the best ones by any means. This is a good one. I bet you'd buy a Switch too. I probably would. If I was doing anything like Nintendo related or that had, you know, Switch exclusivity, I would definitely be looking at it in a different way. But I don't. My Switch is fine. I don't need to spend money on that, but I probably do need to upgrade both of my other systems this year. Because even though I'm not primarily on console, sometimes I do need to use consoles, and when that happens, I don't want to, you know, have a major issue pop up and just be like, well, shit, I need to wait a week to get a PS5. I say that like I can't just go to Walmart or something and buy one, I guess. This deck is so nice. I am not running towards the exit. I was like, am I even doing the right objective? I was a bit distracted. I wasn't reading. It's fine. I'll make it work. Ooh, I can definitely make this work. Hold on. The cards are with me. It was just a whole different game, basically. Yeah, Prime 4 definitely did not seem to come out like I would have expected, to put it lightly. I'm gonna wait. My stealth camo is only gonna last for so long. I can't even target him. God damn it. I would have to hit every single shot on a 75% chance for that to work. It was clearly a very troubled development. But here's my warm take. I think it's the second best in the series. To be fair, the Prime series is an interesting one in the sense of like, There is one amazing Metroid Prime game. And then there's another 3 Metroid Prime games. You know, like 2 and 3, I can't speak on 4, I haven't played it. But 2 and 3 are definitely both in the territory of like, they're good, but they're nowhere near Prime 1. They're nowhere near what Prime was. You know what I mean? They're good on their own, but comparatively, it's not the same. I can definitely still clear this. Like we're cooking. I have 2 FAMASas, and my stealth camo, I think, will last past 11 more cost, but I haven't been keeping track. I've done it again. I have done it again. Well, it did not last. Thankfully, his cost must have been quite high. What is it? Brother. He has 8? Works for me. It works for me. 2 I haven't finished, but it seemed like Prime 1, but kind of better. Hot take, maybe. You're crazy. You're crazy. Oh boy. You know what? Oh. I forgot the camera was there. I'm so used to blasting through this mission a specific way, and I got thrown off by not reading my objective this time. I hit the armor. Let's see, maybe there's a chance. There is a chance. There's a good chance. And Snake misses one of the shots. Awesome. That helps, I guess. The gimmicky motion controls in 3, yeah, I did not like those. But I just generally don't like gyro or motion controls really in anything. There are games where they can be fun, definitely. Like, I've heard great things about the RE4 port to the Wii from people who played it. I haven't played it, but I've heard good things. So I could believe that that's fun. I know the Chronicles games on the Wii were actually pretty fun with the motion controls and whatnot. %54 chance to hit, but I only have to hit 2 bullets. I liked my odds on that. Oh, the dog. I'm like, what have I not killed? I was so confused by the mission not ending there. Hold on. I just have to turn around and shoot the dog. Heard good things about Pikmin on the Wii. I've never played Pikmin. 52 cost, not my best, but 4,600 as opposed to 5,000 is still pretty good. I'll take an A rank. It was messy because I didn't read the objective at the beginning. If I had known what I was doing from the start, we would have flown through that. Oh, I didn't read it there. Wipe out enemies, okay. Well. Stealth camo has just been popping out right at the start of every single mission today, and I'm not complaining. Granted, I have 2 in the deck, so like the odds of that happening aren't like super low, but I normally just don't see it pop out right away this often. Well, I just got an ad on my phone. I have it up all the time for backup chat in case my bot shits the bed and I don't realize. I did not realize that Ice Cube was touring again. Premium ran out? My premium ran out a bit ago. And I'm not paying for that. Sorry, YouTube. Not really, though. I'm not paying for that. Some people swear by premium. They're like, bro, I can never go back after experiencing it. And I get it, but like, I'm a stingy bitch. I am so stingy. I'm like, for what? What is the, I don't even know the current price of YouTube Premium, actually. For whatever it is a month, I don't even know the price off the top of my head. I can definitely just watch some ads on YouTube. For that amount of money, I could watch ads. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Even though I'm using minus cost, I'll slip right below the camera. Good luck on the drops today. May the card RNG be with us. Who is that? Uh-oh. No more camera. What? Okay. The alert only matters for the rank at the end, but that does still piss me off that I just randomly got an instant alert, because that's not how the mechanic is supposed to work. See you around, Sentai. Have a good rest of your day. No one knows what to do. Stealth camo might be one of the most busted cards in the game. It only lasts for 20 cost. That's like the one real downside. But like the benefit comparatively is like it's only 5 costs to equip it. No one can see you at all, ever. Even like I can just sit here and shoot this guy. He has no clue what's going on. The AI has no counterplay to it whatsoever. It's so broken. It does not matter that it only lasts for 20 cost. It genuinely just doesn't even factor in. I maybe should have just used minus cost because my camo is going to wear off, but that's fine. I'm going to get a deck reload too. There it is. Okay, wait, hold on now. I saw the deck reload is next turn, I guess. But I saw that draw. I only need to kill this guy and the dog, and then we're done. The guards that come in after the alert is raised don't count towards the eliminate everyone requirement. This game likes to fuck me sometimes. That is ridiculous. Don't mind if I do. I'm a ghost again. Give me a gun. Okay, in the meantime, because I have it, I can use the rocket launcher on the dog. There are a couple of guns. Those will work. He still won't know where I am, don't worry. They never do. Now just finish the dog and we're done. Whoa. Hit a little bit of slowdown there. Just a little bit. All right, dog. The sniper should be enough. Oh yeah, the sniper is more than enough. There we go. Beautiful. It just works. This deck is bust as fuck. A rank. It's fine. I'm over the 50K mark. Man, as soon as I buy like a super rare card though, we're gonna have to farm up to this extent again before opening more packs. Metal Gear Rex, I definitely don't have that. What does it do? Attack 200 to a 5x5 area for 30 cost. 30 cost is insane. This being a diagram of the area, if the triangle is me facing forward. Holy shit. Yeah, it's Metal Gear Rex. It says random 2 cards from hand. Trample random 2 cards from hand and destroyed. And then it just cuts off and nothing in here elaborates on that. I'm assuming playing it will also destroy 2 cards from my hand. Don't mind if I take a little Metal Gear Rex. Thank you. There goes all my 50K that we were building up. But where is it? Probably near the bottom. Metal Gear Rex. And with how many MGS1 packs we opened and I never got this, some of these cards, like if they appear in the shop, this is just the easiest way to guarantee that you get your hands on one. There's a reason it's there. The like specific card vendor. I've seen lots of people online complaining that Marathon is too difficult and that they can't do the content. I have 2. And am I insane? Like, how crazy does it sound, chat? When I tell you, this probably doesn't surprise some people, to be fair. That is one of the things that to me is the most interesting about the game and like has me kind of wanting to pick it up and play it. Is that weird? Like that to me has been one of the most like attractive things that I've heard about the game. Because to be fair, it's like if the game is too hard to get through the content, it's, you know, people are going to have a hard time enjoying it. But like, it's an extraction shooter. And I love extraction shooters. I used to grind the fuck out of Tarkov back when it was in early access. Like, one of the key things about this whole genre is that they're supposed to be really difficult, punishing games. Like, that's one of the things that the whole genre is built on. So to me, I hear that and I'm like, Man, I've been itching for something like that. Because Tarkov went in a direction that I really didn't like. With like making the game a lot more easily digestible. Kind of with each update. And it's a fairly hardcore game, like currently. But it's not what it used to be. And most of the challenge comes from changes to PvP mechanics instead of like systematic changes. Like they took the challenge out from the PvE stuff and like actually getting your kit pulled together. And now really the only really punishing thing about Tarkov is if you run into other people who do want to kill you. They made the PvP like clunkier in a way. Wonder if they'll soften Marathon up. I don't think they will, to be honest. I think it would be foolish of them to do so as well. Because as much as it's like, we need people playing the game to make money, if the game is too hard for people, they're gonna stop playing. As much as that is a reality, at the same time, I feel like especially in the current market, Marathon exists, or I guess Marathon, sorry, almost sells itself on being a more hardcore experience. Because now there's stuff like Arc Raiders, where like if you want an extraction shooter that is really easy to get into and accessible, and like you're not gonna log on for a good time with the boys after work and lose all of your shit immediately, like Arc Raiders is currently filling that sector of the market for extraction shooters. And Marathon almost benefits right now from being a more hardcore game instead of trying to be what Arc Raiders is. I think if they did, sorry, this hand. I think if they did try to soften it up and move more into the casual side of things, it would hurt player retention, to be honest. Because it really is like, I mean, if I want to play an easier extraction shooter, I'll go play Arc Raiders, you know? Like, why would I play Marathon at that point? Maybe I'm crazy. Why would they expect big numbers from a PvP-focused extraction shooter? That is, like, I don't think they went into this with expectations of, like, Destiny 2 numbers, right? I think they kind of went in knowing that this would be a more niche title. I don't think Sony likes that, to be fair, but I bet the game was just too far in at that point for Sony to really steer it in a different direction. Because apparently Marathon they started working on in like 2020, if I heard right. I don't know if that's legit, but I did hear that. So by the time that Sony acquired them, Marathon would have already been like pretty deep, to the point where you just gotta let it ride out. And yeah, that's the other thing, is that it's being received well. Like, and every time that I see it pop up, I mean, it catches my eye every time. I'm sort of like, not right now. I can't. But, because like Last Epoch has a new expansion tomorrow. And I've already been trying to juggle like Diablo 2 expansion and Path of Exile 1 expansion and Diablo 4 expansion. Like everything has been dropping all at once. I've been trying to just play a little bit of everything. It's actually, like, honestly, it kind of sucks that there's so much coming out all at once, like in games that I enjoy playing in my free time, because it has legitimately been a matter of I get to play a little bit of everything that's coming out, but I can't like properly sink into and like play the fuck out of any one thing because it's all just so scattershot. It's all happening at once. Suffering from success. It really is. Like everything that I love is dropping big new content updates to the point where I can't even like enjoy any of them to the extent that I normally would, because it's too much all at once. I can't fit it into my schedule. Re-up that and -4. Pray for something that's better for moving. The chaff will work. I love the lore and atmosphere, but I would never play it. I would so play it. I've been kind of just eyeballing it from the side. Another creator who I don't speak to super often by any means, but who I've known for years at this point. He's been doing a lot of marathon content, which is very outside of his usual brand. But he just picked it up and was like, yeah, this is so cool. I'm making videos on it. And every time I see him uploading, I'm just like, dude, because he's loving it. He really is. And he was the one who was telling me about like what's that? The big drop that they did a couple weeks in, where like at first they kind of just had the basic gameplay established, but then like 2 weeks later they were like, okay, we're opening up this huge like raid content type thing where you can only load into this map and participate in this activity if you're already like at the end of the basic gameplay progression. And he grinded to get caught up for it. And apparently that piece of content is mega hard, like Destiny raid sort of thing, where you need a crew of people who are all super juiced out and geared the fuck out. And even then, you're gonna have a hard time on it. Like, it's going to be a tricky piece of content to actually get through. But like, having stuff like that at the end of this long progression curve is appealing to me. Like, that's the sort of thing that I get super interested in when I hear about it. I'm like, you're telling me that I spend all this time grinding this game to get to the end, and then my reward at the end isn't even that there's like a reward straight away, but instead it's like you get this huge, like mega challenging piece of content that offers up the big reward that you would get at the end, but you have to work for it still. I like that. I love that shit. To the point where like my brain caught up too late. Sorry, I'm in a spot of what to say and what not to say. Say it all. Say it all, no balls. No balls to me. I have a little side project that I've been plugging away at, like pretty much since I quit my job in 22 that basically has been moving at like a snail's pace, because like it's a free time project on top of full-time YouTube. But I constantly have to sit there and be like, if I ever did put this out, would this be too much? Because I'm so, like, I don't know the word for it, or like even how to describe it. I veer so hard towards like a progression of like, you do this thing to get this reward that then enables you to push further and do harder content. Like, I love that shit. My brain is so wired towards that sort of stuff in games that I sometimes have to sit back and just be like, is this too crazy? Like, is this to the point where people would just be like, no, this is fucking stupid, I'm not doing this? And I have to really think about that sometimes. Because I'm like, if this ever did see the light of day, would this be just too wild? Very well could be. Can I hit the dog from here? I can lock onto it from here. Wait a minute. I have 2 of these cards? Or did I deck reload? No, I'm about to deck reload. I have 2 of these cards? Make it a one-piece adventure we have to go on to discover it, like an ARG. I would not know the first thing about putting together an ARG. But another creator that I know, actually the same creator, he like lives for ARGs. Like, if there is one thing that will get him interested in a game quicker than anything else, it's if you put a fucking ARG into it, or like around it, right? Like, he's the reason that I even knew that there was a Black Ops 7 ARG last year. Because I remember mentioning it on stream and being like, did you guys know that this is even happening? And I showed the website and everything, and people were like, what? The fuck? It was before BO7 was actually even announced last year. I don't know if anyone was around who might remember it, but there was an ARG prior to Black Ops 7 that just basically no one knew about. Because to be fair, they kind of hit it too well. And there wasn't really enough about it that would signal to you that it was Call of Duty if you didn't extensively know like Black Ops lore. Like, I wouldn't have recognized it had I not been told about it. I would not have recognized it as Call of Duty even if I did happen upon it, you know? And then sure as shit, it was this whole ARG that they did to set up the guild, which ended up being the enemy faction for Black Ops 7 when they did announce it. It was really wild. We don't know even for sure if Hunk is in 9 or not. Are we talking about Hunk? Did he outright say Hunk? Because, like, I knew when he said it that it was Hunk, but, like, did he say that? Yeah, that is what we're talking about. It is Hunk. It is, like, 100% Hunk. Even trying to rationalize it not being Hunk requires some mental gymnastics. It is Hunk. said he got spoiled. Yeah, I saw him saying he got spoiled, but I didn't see him specifically say Hunk. The voice, the mask, the general like connection lore-wise for him to even be there, the Raccoon City syndrome, like literally every single thing about him points to him being Hunk. You have to really go out of your way to try to make it not Hunk if you don't want it to be. Like, you have to put in effort to convince yourself, and especially other people, that it's not him. Because it is so absolutely him, even though they don't say his name out loud. His name was Hung, and he had a big... A lot of people are hung up on them not using his name as like a, well, it can't be him because they don't say his name anywhere, like not even like in the game files, right? But that's almost definitely just because Hunk was a code name that he had under Umbrella. So after Umbrella went under, like, he would still operate, but he probably wouldn't be operating using a defunct code name from a specific company. Or employer, it's kind of weird to define his relationship with Umbrella. But you get what I'm saying. Like, odds are he would not use the same code name, right? What if Capcom is setting Hunk up for something big? Well, they were. That project got canceled, but they were prior to RE9 even coming out. There was a Hunk spin-off that was slotted for release in 2024 that got canceled. Which is a big reason why I think we saw so much Hunk presence in like everything. Like obviously RE2 remake, RE4 remake, he was just side content in the original games, and so he got remade for the remakes as the same side content. But then like, that's not mentioning like his presence in all of the other spin-offs right around that time. Like things like Reverse. Hunk got thrown into Reverse for whatever reason. And we know that Reverse was, well, dealt a shitty hand in a few ways with the canceled spin-offs. Hunk, I think, was able to stay in Reverse purely because of RE2 prior. Because keep in mind, RE4 Remake came out after. But like, Wesker had to get cut from Reverse because of the canceled spin-off, because of Rev 3 getting canceled, not 2. My bad, 2 came out well before that. Because of Rev 3 getting canceled, they had to cut Wesker from Reverse. Like right before the game came out, as well as apparently 2 maps from Rev 3. And I think it was 1 bioweapon. Like 1 playable monster from Rev 3 as well had to get cut. Is there a Hunk mode in RE2 Remake? Yeah, 4th Survivor is in RE2 Remake. It's not DLC or anything, it's just... It's the same as the original RE2. They just remade 4th Survivor for it. Love a fourth survivor like game mode for RE9. Yeah, there's what's that? There is a mini game, an unspecified mini game for Requiem coming out in May. So we could potentially see something at least similar. I doubt it, but it's possible, is what I'm getting at. Yikes. A card game? Bro, honestly, I know it would piss off so many people, but something like the 21, well, they won't, because Nakanishi's shit posting already ruled it out, but something like 21 from RE7 would be so fun. Don't think it'll be Mercenaries. I don't think it will be Mercenaries, the RE9 minigame, only because, and I was saying this on stream the day they announced it, every time that we've gotten Mercenaries post-launch, which has been quite a few times now, they have always, with zero exceptions, I shit you not, like you will not, even if you go back and rewatch every single announcement for them, you will not be able to find a single exception to them just saying straight up the first time they ever even mention it that it is Mercenaries. They never beat around the bush with it. They always just tell you, we're bringing Mercenaries to the game post-launch, whenever that is. They have never like subtly hinted at it and left it for later. Cyborg Ninja I don't have. They have always just told you straight up, we're doing Mercenaries. This time, they said, we are bringing a new minigame in May, which we will be excited to show you when that time comes. To me, given the history of post-launch Mercenaries and the way that they announced it, to me, that reads as we're getting something not Mercenaries, and probably something that's actually new, to be honest. Like probably something that is just not what we have seen before. Although, what I did say, also on the day of that announcement, if we got a raid mode successor in Requiem, I would be a happy man. And I know I would not be the only one. I would be far from the only one who would be happy with a raid mode successor. Or do they repurpose the multiplayer aspect? Honestly, the multiplayer aspect, if they cut it down into small maps and used the bones of what was there before, that could already be a repurposed, like, multiplayer aspect of RE9. Because for those that don't know, RE9 was originally Resident Evil Apocalypse, the game, the spin-off that got canceled. And we didn't know that they were the same team, that they were the same project, until Nakanishi straight up said it and showed off a little bit of footage of the Apocalypse build pre-cancellation in that Vidoc that they did. Like, we had no idea that there was a connection with those. We just knew of RE Apocalypse prior. But RE Apocalypse was an open world multiplayer, like RE6-esque Resident Evil game. And that originally was Resident Evil 9. Like, it apparently was just straight up Resident Evil 9, and Apocalypse was a code name. But then, as Nakanishi put it in that Vidoc, the team realized that, like, that project would not go over well with the community and would not be what anyone really wanted. So they decided to scrap it and just do a more traditional game instead. And now that we have Requiem, even though we don't have Apocalypse, that was definitely the right decision. And like, not even bringing in sales data and stuff, that was 100% the right decision. But it's so interesting to me that for whatever reason, like post RE5 and 6, post RE Resistance, post RE Reverse, Capcom still, after all of those, was like, you know what we should do for Resident Evil 9? A multiplayer game. We should do that. People would like that. And then they, mid-development, were like, oh. Wait, maybe people wouldn't like this. It's wild to me that Capcom still gets so fixated on the idea of a multiplayer Resident Evil game. Like, seriously, it's weird, right? That after all of these attempts, almost all of them blowing up in Capcom's face, they still are just like, you know what we should do? Multiplayer game. Resident Evil Outbreak 3/remake? No. Don't be silly. Not that kind of multiplayer. Open world action horror co-op multiplayer. That would go over well. It is crazy to me that Capcom still just time and time again are like, you know what? Multiplayer. You forgot more buzzwords? I was trying to fit in as many as I could. I don't know how obvious that was. I really did try to fit in as many buzzwords there as I could. I'm gonna wait. I think I still have forecast on this. You missed live service. As far as we know, it wasn't live service, weirdly. It seems like it was just gonna be like a, once the game is out, it's out sort of thing. At least as far as we know. They never said anything about live service. It could have been though. It really could have been, to be fair. Gotta move here, -4 this, right? I have a plan. I think it's a pretty decent plan, actually. I was waiting on the deck reload. We missed the launcher of the dog. I'm -20. The multiplayer title being a numbered game would have also pissed people off. That's basically what they said. They were like, even as a spin-off, this wouldn't go over super well. Making it Resident Evil 9 is probably a bad idea. Was basically, at least what they described in that Vidoc, was like, even beyond just the general reception to all the projects that have been multiplayer for the Resident Evil franchise lately, like making it a numbered game would have just been the cherry on top, right? That would have been the thing that pissed people off more than anything else. So is 5 Remake or Code Veronica next? We genuinely just, at this point, don't know. Like, we really have no hints or anything to say. There are leaks about a Code Veronica remake, but from Dusk. So, like, you know, not a whole lot to go off of there. God damn it, dude. Could I hit this dog from anywhere? Some insiders are very confident about CV. Yeah. We do have leaks that are very adamant about Code Veronica being next, but those same leaks, with Dusk in particular, are also saying that CV is getting announced this year, released next year. And then after that, next year we're getting an announcement for a Zero remake with a release coming the year. Chat, this one was just run to the goal. I've been wiping out all the enemies. This one was just get to the goal. I'm like, why did it not end? Oh my God. Well, I feel a bit silly. Sorry. The same leaker says that next year we will get a Zero announcement shortly after the CV remake comes out, and then a Zero remake the year after. So it would be 2028, the RE0 remake. And then 2029, they say, will be the next mainline, like, numbered game, whatever Resident Evil 10 ends up being. And then 2030 will have an RE1 remake that just recently entered development. So legitimately, we have no clue, because at best, the current leaks really just read like someone just throwing out every possible idea and coming up with this crazy ass timeline to put behind it. So I really, like, even if I were trying to have an open mind about the leaks and be like, maybe this is true, if I just put it being Dust Golem off to the side, like put aside the fact that he is wrong 99% of the time when he leaks stuff for Resident Evil, if I put all of that off to the side and ignore it, that leak still sounds fucking batshit crazy, and like I can't trust it without at least a little something from Capcom to, like, you know, point out to me that this may be true. Like, without even the slightest thing, I can't just blindly put my faith in all that. If you say enough shit, eventually you'll be right. It really does feel like that. I'm glad it's not just me that thinks so. Your mic uber gained again today? Brother, no one did tell me. Why is it defaulting to that? I'll have to go in and figure that out. Oh, you know what it might be? Seems like it's not. I'll have to figure it out. Been here for literally 30 seconds. Great. I'm glad that I've been loud as fuck and peaking the whole time. While I'm already naturally loud as fuck, I have a loud voice. I didn't hear anything off. It was off. The setting was wrong. Now you seem to be getting cut off a bit. I shouldn't be. Nothing that's been resetting should affect that. There seems to be a drop off. No, all my other stuff looks right. Any luck with RE1 yet? I haven't even bothered. I was playing with my adult Legos instead, also known as Unreal Engine. Been back on that kick again lately. It's not Pong. I hate to disappoint. I know everyone was waiting for live service Ultra Mega RTX Pong, but unfortunately that is not what I've been playing around with. As much as I would love to make that. Because I had such a funny shitpost thought up for it. Like, the whole thing is not even just... I say I had a funny shitpost thought up, but the whole project was the shitposts. Wouldn't make sense seeing juiced up Wesker out of nowhere. See, you say that. But no one played CB to begin with anyway. And it worked out the first time. Even that trailer looked like it was running badly. The CE remake trailer, or sorry, the CE remake performance, I bet will be bad on console for sure. Like 100%. I think it will be brutal on console. PC, I'm sure it will just be rig dependent. It probably won't be too bad. Because the trailers do make it look bad. However, all the trailers are running on Xbox. So like, I can't really measure based on that. Because even though they look bad in the trailers, like they're running on the system that I expect to be bad no matter what. So for the PC side, like I can't even try to estimate it. But I don't think it will be that bad. On PC, you can just brute force it with the right hardware. True. As God intended. Game runs bad. Just put a fucking 10-pound brick in there. It will run better. Does anyone here remember when I was building my current PC and I had to delay it like a week because the 4080 was too big and the case that I had bought that came in before the GPU, actually everything came in before the GPU. The GPU was the last thing that made it to me when I built this. I had everything pulled together. And then GPU got here. I went to slot it in. It's too big because the PC case measurements on the website were wrong. The company, I don't even know what case I had bought. I looked over to be like, who was it? Who's fucking bitch ass sold me the wrong case? But I replaced the case. I have a different case. So I don't know what company that was. I actually forget. But whoever it was, they fucked up. They put the wrong dimensions on the listing. So I had to order a new case, take out everything that I had built in that case already because I built it all and then was like, oh, I'll just slot in the GPU when it gets here. No. GPU too big. Have to move it all to the new case now. So I built it in the new case, then had to refund the first one and like send it back and everything. It sucked. How important is CV to the lore? To be honest, as a Code Veronica defender, not terribly important in the grand scheme of things. Wesker is the most important thing in the game. Like, by far. Because really nothing else from CV becomes too relevant later on. Like, I'm trying to think of things in Code Veronica that aren't Wesker that are important to the lore later in the series. And I'll be honest, I'm drawing a blank. Like, really, the only big thing narratively from Code Veronica that matters later on is Wesker coming in about halfway through the game and being a fucking supervillain who teleports around and has glowy cat eyes now. Like, none of the Umbrella lore becomes important later. Alfred and Alexia never really come up again. The T Veronica virus, not really important later. Gets name dropped in 5, but that's about it. Yeah, there's not a lot that really comes up from CV later on. Progenitor, does it get mentioned in CV? RE lore is a fickle thing, especially OG. Yeah. The remake timeline, as much as the retconning gets a little ridiculous sometimes, is much cleaner lore-wise. Like, much more consistent and, what's that? Easy to parse. Wasn't T Veronica used in Darkside Chronicles through Operation Javier? It was. Now, this is the fun part, and a lot of people, I think, either forget this or maybe just aren't even aware. Operation Javier got retconned. Like, majorly. It still happened. There was a Operation Javier in the current timeline, but what that Operation Javier was in Darkside Chronicles is not at all the Operation Javier that's in the remake timeline, with some pretty massive differences. Like, apparently Leon and Krauser weren't allies in Operation Javier, and they actually fought each other during Operation Javier. Like, they were on opposing sides. And it's really easy to miss that retcon in the midst of everything else happening near the end of RE4 Remake. But the Operation Javier that was in the remake timeline is completely different. Oh shit, camo wore off. I thought I still had 10 cost on it. Wait, what? Yeah. Whether they went in as allies and only, like, maybe Krauser side-swapped mid-operation and then they fought, we don't know the specifics of it. It's kind of been left vague enough to where it might be used as material later on in the remake timeline. We don't know. But there's a mention of the two of them fighting during Operation Javier in RE4 Remake. They could have gone in together and then Krauser turned or whatever. But in Remake Operation Javier, the two of them fought. And I don't remember. No. I don't remember all the little details of it. Because I'm trying to like think to more specific examples to explain it. And my memory on it is too fuzzy. I would use more specific examples if my memory was stronger right now. But there's only a couple of documents that refer to it. And then like 2 mentions of it between Leon and Krauser in conversation. So we really have barely anything to go off of in terms of actually piecing together the differences and stuff and like working out all the specifics. But like we don't even know, you know, if any of the virus was the same, like if it was still T Veronica virus, we have no idea. Because it's clearly like an entirely different thing as of the RE4 Remake retconning it.
I just want to stick my finger in there, this flat.
Understandable. It's a whole lot of finicky bullshit, basically. Classic RE lore, to be honest. Doesn't the 5070 have 12 gigs VRAM? Find myself reaching 13 to 14 in some games. Yeah, VRAM is fucked right now, to be fair. Like, and it's hard to know if it's gonna stay that way or not, is kind of the challenge with things like Crimson Desert. You know, shifting the way that a lot of devs will probably start to look at that stuff. It's really hard to say if VRAM will get worse or just kind of stay right where it is now or get better. Like, honestly, we're in a spot where it's nearly impossible to predict, which is unfortunate. Because, like, when we upgraded False's rig, what was that, like 6 months ago or so? The reason that I went with the 5070 Ti for her was because it has 16 gigs. It was only like $200 more than the 5070. And the 5070 Ti is virtually identical to the 4080. I think it's like 2% slower in benchmarks. It's very slightly below the 4080, but not to any real noticeable extent. And considering that we weren't upgrading like her entire rig and she only needed the GPU upgrade at that time, I was like, okay, here's what I think. I would spend the extra 200 to go for it, mostly because of the VRAM. I would. It's also, she doesn't want to constantly be upgrading, and like Tibby said, she's a streamer and she runs like streaming software and VTubing software and her stream bot and like everything else on top of just running the games. So I was like, overall, probably best to spend the extra 200 now and just be set for a minute. I'm waiting for new GPUs to come out, personally. I really, really would love some new GPUs. 9070 XT is on par with 5070 Ti for like a couple hundred less. Just saying. Yeah, but like AMD, poo-poo. Nvidia, good. I might go with AMD. They've been... Really, I feel like it depends for whether I do move over or not, how the next line of GPUs from both companies turns out. A 5050 9GB? What the fuck? Why would I buy a 9GB card in the big 26? Has forgotten about DLSS 5 already? I can just not use DLSS is the thing. I could just not turn it on. Which I fully intend on never turning it on. Because it looks like shit. Oops. Just wait. I will just wait. AMD just exists in a space where, like, for most people, AMD is significantly more practical. But if you're doing, like, you know, content creation, any sort of, like, serious game dev, like outside of just messing around with stuff on the side, video editing, if you're using GPU dependent programs, I do. I use a GPU based program. NVIDIA is still like definitively the way to go just because of the raw horsepower of it. Because like I live in a space where like the price of the PC component outside of inconvenience doesn't really matter, because I just at any time kind of need the top shelf. As unfortunate as it is, I live in that space. Especially for productivity, yeah. First DLSS 5 required game will most certainly be a Bethesda game. I don't think DLSS 5 will ever be a requirement, though. Because DLSS 5 isn't a renderer, it's a post-processing filter. Right? So, as easy as it can be to, like, doom and be like, oh my god, it's going to become a reality where a game will just straight up require it and you won't have any other option. It's also like, why would it require it? Like, in what technical sense would it even make sense to require DLSS 5? Because things like ray tracing can be required, or even down the line path tracing, but that's probably a ways away, because that is something that changes the entire rendering of the game. Whereas DLSS 5 is a filter that's applied over top of the rendering. So like in no way do I envision something like that ever actually being mandatory for a game. Because it just, from a technical standpoint, wouldn't make sense. They'll make it required just because fuck you. AI. You can't turn it off. That could be a thing. That actually, it could just be like a, you know, game for some stupid reason doesn't have the ability to turn it off in the settings menu. Once every card on the market can do it. I mean, it's like DLSS 5 will occupy the same space as our current existing like video upscaling methods. And it's easy, like DLSS 3 or 4 or whatever is like one thing. But I think like fucking FSR is still in there. What was NVIDIA's upscaler prior to DLSS called? I can't even remember the name at this point because I never use it. But it's always in the options. But with all of these things, with all of them, I have yet to see a game that forces you to use upscaling at a base level, because they always just have the option for none. Like, you can just always enable native resolution without any upscaler on it. Like, I've yet to see a new AAA release that doesn't just allow you to turn it all off entirely. Even like the worst ones that have the least visual settings will have the option for none. I don't know. I don't see any timeline where it's a required thing in games. Like, even the worst timeline, it would make no sense outside of just, fuck you, we did it because we wanted to. It's not none. When I play Tekken at 100%, the hairs have big-ish pixels. Is that because of your aliasing option? Or do you still have the upscaler on despite having your resolution scaling at 100%? Todd wants to, it just works. Todd's comments on it were so bizarre. Like, just so strange to me. Oh, this is stealth mission. You're right. This one, I can just run. See, I'm yapping too hard again. Thank you. This is run to the exit. You apparently can't gamble daggers on D2. Wait, what? Why? I mean, obviously it would just be, for some reason, it's not possible for them to appear in gambling vendors. But like, why? That's really weird. I've been rolling it. Did you like Google it? Dynamic super resolution sounds right. Super resolution sounds familiar. Actually, that might be what I'm thinking of. Oh no, I didn't Google it? Oh. Surely it's in there, right? It's always on? What do you mean it's always on? Image scaling? Yeah, they had stuff like that prior to DLSS. It just wasn't as impressive, because literally all it would do was it would scale the resolution dynamically instead of like actually trying to use a post-processing filter to hide the fact that it was doing it. Back when they started introducing it, it would literally just spatial resolution scaling. It wasn't an Instagram filter. Yeah. It was always around, like, not always, but it's been around for a long time, like dynamic resolution stuff. It's just back in the day they didn't cover it up. Leave trails with TSR at 100, but not with FSR 1. But yeah, but Raiden, you're leaving the upscaler on instead of selecting none. And the 100 is only the target. If you have an upscaler on, if your GPU is gonna dip below, it will still dip. There is no option for none? Is there not? Hold on. See, I don't have Tekken installed to open this and look at it. Hold on. This is a fucking Hail Mary of a Google search, man. Trying to just get the graphics settings menu. Is it always on? Oh, shit. I keep doing it. Do they not have a none option because they have DLAA instead? PC Gaming Wiki? Oh, you're right. Can I walk around? Oh my god. Wait a minute. I think the camera would see me there. No, it wouldn't. Okay, hold on. His hot sauce is right. PC Gaming Wiki will have it. Forcing it wouldn't be completely outlandish. What I'm wondering is if they don't have a none option because they have DLAA, but then obviously if you're not running an NVIDIA GPU, you can't use DLAA. Oh, guess what, chat? PC Gaming Wiki is down. I was like, it's taking forever to connect to PC Gaming Wiki. Holy hell. That's why. Well. I think that's not in the options. Well, DLAA would only be there if you're on an NVIDIA GPU that supports it. And I would just open the game and look, but I don't have it installed. How long did that guy just shoot for? How many bullets did he get? Reach the goal without being spotted. You know what's the most obnoxious thing ever? You guys want my PC port complaint that I've been recently reminded of? Get this, right? Diablo 4. I just accidentally said crawl. Diablo 4. Every single time I boot up the game, without fail, even if I try to make my settings like read only in the files, without fail, frame gen ×2 turns on every single time. I have to turn off frame gen every time I boot up Diablo 4. no matter what. And it drives me fucking insane. And it's funny because frame gen wasn't even a thing when D4 came out. They added it post-launch, and ever since they added it, I've had to turn it off every single boot. Are you read only the settings while the game is running? No. No, I know how to read only. It just... the game always somehow undoes it. Sounds like the settings not saving. Exactly. That is 100% the issue. Well, that setting at least, because every other setting works. I've not had issues with any other settings in the game that I change, but that one specifically will turn on every single time. Without fail. Manually set it and then read only outside the game. I've done that. What if instead of showing character faces for DLSS 5, they used background stuff instead? Do you think that would have been well received? No. Because the character faces, for me personally, aren't even the thing that I have the most issue with. Believe it or not. Like, I think everyone else immediately defaults to that because it's the most noticeable thing. My big thing with DLSS 5, outside of even the character faces, is that the lighting and the materials and everything also get changed by DLSS 5. And especially with like the Resident Evil examples where the lighting in Requiem is immaculate and very intentional and artistically framed. DLSS 5 is just like, this image should be smooth and what's a good word for it? Homogenized, and everything should look natural and realistic. And the lighting gets changed by DLSS 5 because it's just a filter of like what AI thinks that frame should look like as opposed to what it is supposed to look like. That's the whole issue with DLSS 5, is that they've changed it because NVIDIA, as much as the way that people have been talking about DLSS 5 might make you think differently, NVIDIA has been using AI as part of DLSS ever since DLSS 1 came on the scene. The AI use is not new to SSSS, nor would it be new if they introduced it into something like FSR, which also uses AI. The issue is that they've changed the AI from being scale this up so that the image looks the way it should and just like it's at a higher resolution. They've changed it from doing that to make this image look better from just a holistic standpoint. They've changed it from being like, yeah, make it look like the game, but at a higher resolution than it's actually running, to make this game look prettier, which the AI then just looks at a whole bunch of sample images, is like, this is what things should look like, and generates a layer over the top of the game to make it look like that. The issue isn't AI being present. The issue is that what the AI is doing is entirely different from what it has done in prior versions of DLSS or any other upscaler that has used AI over the last few years. I don't know why I started saying extra S's, but I just stuck with it after I did it a couple times. I did it by accident the first couple times, and then I just kept doing it. The first couple times I was just talking too fast, and my brain just added like 4 S's onto it for some reason. After that, I just started embracing it. I think they should have just added an S every single revision instead of like DLSS 2, DLSS 3. I think we should have just gotten like DLSS, DLSSS, DLSSSSS, DLSSSSSS. I think that would have been better. To really emphasize the upgrade in the sampling quality, I think NVIDIA should have gone with that. NVIDIA, you can still change the name. I take PayPal.
Thanks for the peg, chat.
My camo wore off, and I just happened to be standing in a perfect spot where no one saw me. That is some luck. Pisser 2 and Dulce 4 to me sometimes offer a better... I might go with Dulce. Actually, now that I've said it out loud, I might just stick with that. God damn it. He's running away. If we can have Pisser, why not Dulce, chat? Riddle me this. If my games can piss, why can they not Dulce? I should have punched him. Nah, that's fine. Couldn't you progress the story a bit? Yeah, I was planning on doing it once I got my points stockpiled back up. The only reason I'm going so hard on this right now is because we got a couple of those super rare cards to appear, and my point stockpile has vanished as a result. So I don't want more super rare cards to appear, and I just can't afford them. Can't see the dog from here. The dog does not move before me. I don't care about the alert. Oh, that's not what I was trying to shoot at. Shit, man. Damn it, the dog is moving. Ooh, but I got a sniper. Just in case. NVIDIA said devs can customize it how they want. Only issue is that those demos were not dev input. Oh yeah, and I know that at the very least, Capcom is probably just not going to even allow DLSS 5 in their games. After how fucking pissed they were over that showcase. Because they were letting NVIDIA have it after that showcase, man. They were like, we do not support this. We will never support this. We will never have shit like this in our games. We will not. It's just like, damn. I do not expect to see DLSS 5 in my RE Engine games. Noted. They were just straight up like, nope, none of that. Absolutely not. Based Capcom as always. They just straight up were not having it. That was a bit ballsy of me. Actually damaged their reputation. I mean, it did, but at the same time, my brain is like, oh, that's right. That's right. Shit. This one actually fails you if you're spotted. I figured I was just gonna tank it. Their stock is down like 2% since. It's gonna go back up, and they won't care. Is basically what I was looking for there. Essentially said no AI in final product, but they'll integrate it into development. I think a thing that a lot of people are not realizing, for one reason or another, is that everyone is using AI in development right now. Like even Capcom, even Nintendo, everyone is using AI in development. Because quite frankly, from a developer standpoint, this was wipe out enemies. Well, now I set this up poorly. Hold on. From a development standpoint, it would be silly not to. It is like the GOAT when it comes to speeding up the more tedious aspects of development that don't affect the final product. You genuinely cannot do it better by hand. You can't, well, you could do it better. You can't do it faster. And when it comes to stuff that's not making it into the final product, it doesn't matter if you're doing it better, frankly. Like, there are use cases for generative AI in game development. Not in final product, not in what you ship. I work for Google. Part of our ratings are how well we use AI. I believe it. I would believe it. That's amazing, actually. Google especially would make a lot of sense, considering how hard they've been pushing on it lately. I might fail this one too. And I think a lot of that is probably happening at, what's that? Like a lot of the dev studios for companies like Microsoft, or at least were. We don't know how things will go under the new leadership that Xbox is under. But we know that for a while, Microsoft's game dev studios were literally just being forced to integrate AI into their games. Like, we know that that's actually the reason that it was in Call of Duty. No shit. It's just that Microsoft was like, hey, we own you now, Mr. Duty, and we better see Copilot in there somewhere. If not, you're fired. Horizon 6 has it. Horizon 6, to be fair, wouldn't have seen a difference, because didn't Horizon 6 like just come out recently? Correct me if I'm wrong. Horizon 6 would have been basically entirely complete by the time that Xbox came under new leadership. Oh, it's not out yet. When does it come out? Because when I was at the grocery store recently, was seeing products with like Horizon 6 promo codes and stuff on them. Comes out in May. Okay. Still to that extent, like, unless they remove it very last second, it'll have been too late for Horizon 6 to actually turn that around if they are trying to go in a different direction even. That bubble is close. Well, I think the thing that's happening that a lot of people aren't discussing super openly is that the huge bubble around AI has been popping for like a couple months now, but it's not like an instant pop scenario. Like, we're not seeing a .com scenario with this. We're seeing like a gradual decline in both interest and investment, not to the point where it will ever fully go away, because it won't, because there are use cases for it. Like shit like vibe coding, yikes. Shit like generative AI in final game releases, ooh. But like brainstorming, analysis, especially data analysis, placeholders for games early in development that get taken out later when the actual artist work gets put in, that stuff is not going to leave, and that stuff will always be useful. It's not going to entirely go away. It's just, you're going to see a massive decline in like the amount of buzzwords and heavily promoting it. Why is this card only 2,500 points? Why is this gold foil card only 2,500? I have that card, I think. I have to double check, but I think I have MGS1 Snake. Yeah, I do. I do have an MGS1 Snake, so I don't need to buy it. Was around before it got popular, and it's gonna be here afterwards. Yeah, and it being around in like the ways that I just described as like good, there's zero issue with that. There are just ways of using AI, and especially generative AI, that are like, ooh. It's not that the entire technology is like critically fucked and can never be used. It's just there are ways to use it and ways not to use it. And unfortunately, with like the whole crazy bubble that's been going around it, there's been a lot of pushing on the ways that are not great to use it. Hold on, what was it? What was my objective? Reach the exit, okay. Now your uncle can't use Sora to make a video of unspeakable atrocities.
Give me the strokes, Daddy.
I mean, if I'm being 100% real, some of the Sora videos could be funny. Like in an ironic sense, where it's like, this is so shit, they could be funny. Like I sent False some like funny Sora videos that I found just randomly in my feed, because some of them are a good laugh. Like there were those videos going around of like John Cena and other celebrities like floating up to the Ring doorbell cam and being like, I'm geeked. And it's like, who the fuck is making these? These are weird as fuck. Or there was the one that I sent her of like the orange cat with the AK. Or no, it was a shotgun, sorry. I was just like, who is generating these? These are fucking insane. Those were kind of funny, to be fair. But like, not in the sense that they were actually funny. It was definitely in an ironic sense. It was me, I made them all. No one is using it for anything good so far, aside from those couple articles you see of AI detecting tumors. I mean, it depends how you look at it. Like I said, everyone has been using it in game dev. Like in the industry, anyone who I know in the industry, which granted I have less connections than I used to. I've been away for a minute, but anyone who I've spoken to, they've been using it in development, but they remove it. Like that's a positive use in the sense of the games industry specifically. It's nowhere near like detecting tumors, but in that sense, it does speed up production, allows artists to actually work on the final artwork, like that the game is going to ship with, instead of wasting time on placeholders. Or if your studio does it the other way around, where the artists are always working on the final product, and you have like your level designers or your programmers making little placeholders to use instead, saves them time too. Like regardless of who's actually doing it, saves time, saves resources, gets things done faster. Like you don't use it in the final product, but that is a good use for it. Like there's a reason that everyone is using it, and when studios are using it like that, it's not really becoming public information that they're using it unless they, for whatever reason, come out and say it. Like you saw with like Larian, and I can't remember their studio, like the name of the studio, but the developers of Expedition 33 came out and said the same thing last year. They were the reason that Larian came out and said it. Just everyone is doing it. You wouldn't know publicly that everyone is doing it unless they have a specific reason to say they are. Like even Capcom's statement recently, while they didn't outright say it, like, I mean, if you read that statement on DLSS 5, they basically say that they're using it for placeholder and stuff in dev. They don't literally say it, but they do very heavily imply in their statement that they do use it, and then they just take it out before actually reaching the finished product. They almost outright say it. Because, like, it's a good use. It works. It's cheaper, it's faster. Lets everyone work on the part that actually matters instead of, you know, having a little 1 or 2 hour side quest before they can actually get to it for the day. And oh my god, when I was on the production side of things, holy shit, the amount of time that it would have saved if generative AI was being used in game development then for placeholders. Because I told the story, or not a specific story, but I've mentioned before that like when you're in the role of needing to keep everything on track, 100,000 points, fuck off. Fox Die raises stats of user when equipped: attack plus 40, hit plus 40%, reaction plus 40%, but the user collapses after 20 cost. Jesus Christ. Sorry. If we had developers using that to make their little placeholders for things that they were prototyping that weren't on the production schedule, like all those times that I mentioned, like you have to go over and check in on someone, see what they're doing, and they're like, oh yeah, look at this cool thing that I'm making, like maybe we could work this in somewhere. And you just have to be like, dog, this is not in the design doc, this is not on the schedule, like we can't be spending time on this. If people were using generative AI as placeholders for that, as opposed to like spending a couple hours making their little placeholder for something that they shouldn't even be working on in the first place. Like, the amount of time saved on that in final production especially would be insane. Like, over the course of the entire production. I mean, when I say in final production, that was a weird way of phrasing it, but you get what I mean. Like, just so much time saved. If that was a thing then. Crisis Core apparently had a Getty Images watermark on an in-game asset. Well, what's it? Crimson Desert had its little AI fiasco this week, and that's where tracking it becomes important in dev. Like, that's a whole new problem to be solved, I guess, with this being a thing now, as opposed to before. Not that it's a major problem, but you have to really be careful about tracking where you're using that stuff if you're going to remove it later, because like Crimson Desert, just this last week, shipped with a bunch of AI shit in it that they had to put out a statement and be like, oh, that's not supposed to be there. We meant to take that out, but I guess we missed it. Like, they just had a bit of that this last week. Which was the same thing that happened with E33 and why they had to come out and say it. Like, that's definitely a new thing that studios need to get on top of that. To put it lightly, studios need to be a little more mindful with that when they are using AI placeholders. But using placeholders is not a bad thing. Meant to take it out, and it's every painting in the game. Yeah, it makes me wonder if the paintings are being placed by some sort of script, maybe, as opposed to being placed in the level design process, which would be super weird if true. But I guess you could do it. Because, yeah, it wasn't just one or two. It was a lot of paintings. It was quite a few paintings. Use AI to notice AI? No, dude. You know what we did? You know what we did when I was around? Back in my day of the ancient time when the dinosaurs roamed the earth in 2022. We fucking used Jira. Great. It's great software. There's a pattern there. Yeah. AI does suck at recognizing stuff that is AI, genuinely. It's going to be less believable the more it happens. That's true. Like, the more incidents like this where stuff is accidentally left in, it will become harder for most people to believe that it was an accident. It's really good at finding it, but it's self-aware. Could be. Could be. I can't remember how long it's been since Will Smith eating spaghetti. Bro, I remember that video so well because it was so fucking cursed. I was a teacher. I'd much rather my student copy paste Wikipedia. Bro, if it was a thing when I was in college, I would not have done like any of my work. Legit. Just knowing me and the way I was as a student, even in college, like if there was a way to just not do this assignment somehow, I was gonna take that way. It would have been so over. Teachers are using it. I've seen that too. That a lot of teachers are using it to generate their curriculum as well these days. I have seen quite a bit of that. Teachers using AI to generate their curriculum, which is insane. It's just one of those things that needs more regulation on it as time goes on, like, realistically. Because, I mean, we already have the copyright thing that just went through, and that was like a big step forward for any artistic field, right? And even beyond just like actual national legislation, YouTube way back put in a thing that was like, yeah, you can't monetize AI generated content. You can make it, you can upload it, whatever, you can't monetize it. And if your channel is largely made up of AI generated content, you can't join the partner program to even get monetized in the first place. Like YouTube, even just on their own level, took a stance against it way back. Quebblecop and Shambles, yeah. It was after Quebblecop was doing all that. That shit was so funny. Then asked why it got everything wrong, and it said it lied. Or sorry, it said I lied. That's hilarious. That's kind of fucking funny though. Bro, if I have to stockpile up 100,000 points to potentially be prepared for whatever this game is gonna throw in my face in that little extra card shop, I don't know how much main story I'll be able to do today, because holy shit. More in shambles than he already was. I mean, he seems to enjoy what he does. Certainly. Can't take that away from him. He definitely seems to enjoy what he does. True. And, I mean, monetarily in shambles, probably. But to be honest, I don't know how well he does. Hold on. I could look. And I make gaming content. I could get a solid estimate. Oh, this was defeat enemies. God damn it. I could roughly estimate how much he makes by eyeballing it. I've done this long enough. Hold on. Rebel Cop. I'm not even gonna try to gauge the shorts. He does shorts content still. And I'm not even going to attempt that because I don't know shorts revenue these days. Oh, he barely even uploads anymore. Does he have multiple YouTube channels? Hold on, let me check his Twitter real quick. YouTube is clearly not his focus. I will say that. Seems like he tried to... Okay, hold on. A little over a year ago, he just dropped the YouTube thing. I don't know why. I'm not willing to look that deep, to be honest. He tried to come back about 3 months ago, did like 5 videos, and I just dropped it again. None of those videos, yeah, I don't know. He does not make a lot off of YouTube, unless he's getting crazy legacy viewership on like his older videos, maybe. Okay. Do insane numbers though, unfortunately. Well, they don't make money, so it's not really a bad thing necessarily. Ooh, my other stealth camo came out. Okay, hold on. Would you rather watch AI slop or skibbity toilet? I'm not. Neither. Neither. You have to choose. I don't think I do. You can't make me. Does Skibbity Toilet have Akiyama as a character at one point? Is that true? Forgot about Akiyama. It is true. Oh, for fuck. Classic MGS Acid. Or Metal Gear Acid mistake. God damn it. Okay. This is Yakuza 5 model. What the fuck? Okay. Jesus, that snuck up on me. Oh, that scared the hell out of me. Damn, dude, that kind of sucks. They just dropped another cut down short for the trailer, and I thought it was something substantial. Man, at some point they're gonna have more than that one trailer, right? Right. At some point, there will be new footage of this game. I have to believe. I just have to. That killed? Holy shit. Xbox showcase tomorrow? They revealed it at the Game Awards. I mean, it could be. Like, it's not impossible. But I kind of doubt it. It's a partner showcase tomorrow, which is very interesting to say out loud. I feel like everyone has been glossing over the fact that they're calling this a partner showcase, and Stranger Than Heaven is there. Like, no one has brought this specifically up in chat, but it's a Xbox partner showcase, and Stranger Than Heaven is there. So that, I mean, it kind of implies that Stranger Than Heaven slash RGG slash Sega is an Xbox partner now? Like, that immediately struck me as weird. I haven't seen anyone else bring it up, but that was weird to me. Thank God. Wait, what? Yeah, everyone just got so caught up in like, oh my God, Stranger Than Heaven will be there, that I feel like we all kind of glossed over the fact that it's called a partner showcase and Stranger Than Heaven is there. It's just third-party games releasing on the console. Maybe? But like, they just kind of have like their third-party games show at their normal showcases a lot of the time. A partner preview. Wasn't Stranger Than Heaven shown at an Xbox event prior? Might be tripping. You might be right, actually. I'm trying to think. Summer Games Fest, I think, was when we saw it the first time. But Summer Games Fest has an Xbox event every year. So it could have been. I don't know. I don't remember. We saw it in the Game Awards for the first time. Summer Games Fest was when we saw the second trailer. The Sotenbori one, right? I think I was getting a little mixed up. Yeah, the teaser was the Game Awards. The Sotenbori trailer was Summer Games Fest. I think that's right. think that's right. I can look, actually. Not at what event it was, but I can find the date of the second Stranger Than Heaven trailer very, very quickly if I just... June 6th was when we got both the RE9 reveal and the Stranger Than Heaven Sotenbori trailer. So that is Summer Games Fest. That's the correct timeline. The Game Awards first, and then that would have been the big, like, main floor Summer Games Fest event, not the Xbox one. That was the main show. Yeah. I'm just gonna have to grind this mission this entire stream, aren't I? To hit 100k points. 100k is insane. That I have to have that on hand like the whole time basically now. And even grinding good missions on extreme, it takes a while to get 100k built up. Although, keep in mind that it doesn't take an entire stream. It's just... What's that? I've spent 50,000 on a card twice this stream because like super rare ones popped up in the card shop. Gonna have to get to 100k and then keep redoing missions just to get that card to show up again. Well, I have to still complete a full second run of the game for one specific card to unlock. So basically, I just need to have 100k on hand if a card that rare or the same card were to appear again. And then once I have that 100k stockpile, I can go back to just doing missions, like progressing the story for the second run. I'm trying to find the optimal mix of both, essentially. Releasing 26 or 27. Showcase will be happening before Cole's stream. Let it be known. I've already made it very known, to be fair. But put me on record again for saying 2027. I think it's early next year is my bet for sure. That just, it lines up with RGG's typical behavior way more if it's early next year. Don't usually announce dates that far out. I don't know how they've been doing it lately, but they typically announce a release date like 9 months to a year ahead of time, like historically over the history of the series. Sometimes they announce stuff like 3 months before. However, every time, and I shit you not, every single time that I've been doing a Yakuza video and researching the production timeline and everything, the only times that they have announced like 3 to 6 months before release instead of like 9 months to a year were the Kiwami games. Every single time. Kiwami 1, 2, and more recently, I lived this one, Kiwami 3. If they announce like 3 to 6 months before, it's always a Kiwami game. Generally, they sit more in the territory of like 9 months to a year, historically. Which is still, compared to most studios, very short for like announcement to release timeline, but not quite the insane like 3 months that the Kiwami games have consistently. That not killing sucks. Yeah, my bet would be early 27, like Q1 2027 is my bet. March, maybe April at the latest, but I would probably say February or March. Historically, RGG goes for early year releases. And for their big, like, new mainline games, they announce, like, 9 months to a year out. So that's where my bet is, just based on how they typically do it. But they could change it. They could get crazy. They could. That shit can always change. I'm just not expecting it to this time. I still doubt it. I mean, my thing with that is that it's true the main team has probably been working on Stranger Than Heaven since Infinite Wealth, but Stranger Than Heaven seems massive. I don't think it will really be like Yakuza 5 scale based on what we've seen so far. But all I'm saying is we already know, at the very least, 2 cities in 2 different time periods. So, like, I'm not saying Yakuza 5, but I'm saying that even just off of that already, that's a big game. Knowing how Yakuza packs shit into their cities and, like, all the side content and stuff, that's a big game already. And I don't want to be the guy who's like, there could be more cities that we just don't know about yet, but, like, there could be more cities. So far, we've gotten 1 city per trailer. I'm just saying, we'll see. It looks like we're seeing more of the Kamurocho stuff in the trailer tomorrow, just based on what we saw. But a lot of the assets and stuff that they were using also looked a lot like what we typically see from their renditions of Kyoto. Like, just art style wise and stuff. Just style wise. I should just say style. Stylistically, it looked a lot like how RGG typically portrays Kyoto. At least that, like, to me, it kind of looked like that. But it is true that we don't definitively know that it's Kamurocho. Just the bits that they showed looked very Kamurocho in that first trailer. It could not be Kamurocho, and it could be Kyoto. Very well, could be. Infinite Wealth took me 30 hours longer than Yakuza 5, actually. Really? I know that even for like 100% on average, granted this is like how long to beat only the people who did 100% the games and input their times and everything, and it averages out. But I looked at the how long to beat when people were like, no, dude, Infinite Wealth is like as big. I was like, there's no way. There's no way it's actually as big, right? The average 100% time of Yakuza 5, I believe, was about 30 hours longer than Infinite Wealth. I believe. I could be misremembering, but that's what I remember. Was it was about 30 hours longer to 100% on average. Which is not to say that Infinite Wealth is not fucking huge, if it's even within the 30-hour span of Yakuza 5. But Yakuza 5 on average outscales it by a bit. I haven't 100%ed either, so I cannot say. And how long to beat has not been overly accurate on the other 100% for Yakuza yet, at least to my experience. So I won't jump the gun that hard, but that's just what I have to go off of so far. You think Stranger is related to Yakuza? 100% yes. Here's the thing. I think this is a judgment situation where, like, related loosely, but not directly. And I have one, like, in my mind, overwhelming reason to think so. Like, you cannot change my mind until the game is out and I actually play it myself and see that I'm wrong, sort of thing. I have one insane reason for it. Sotenbori. It's not even like, oh, that kind of looks like Sotenbori. The second trailer, when they panned out and showed the river, said Sotenbori. Sotenbori is not a real place. I mean, it is, but it's not. That is specifically the Yakuza universe equivalent of Dotonbori, Osaka. Sotenbori is fictional and distinctly within the Yakuza universe. So in my mind, there's no fucking shot that it's not at least loosely connected. Like, as soon as they put the word Sotenbori on screen, that's like, yep, that's a Yakuza game. Like, again, unless I play it myself and see that I'm wrong, you can't change my mind. There's no way that they have it in the same universe and not at least loosely connected. Because otherwise they could have just done Dotonbori. They had no reason to place the game within the Yakuza universe if it's not going to be like a judgment situation, right? To me, there's no doubt currently. I would need something that definitively proves me wrong. Why didn't I think of that? It's one of those things that as soon as they said Sotenbori, my brain was like, oh, it is Yakuza. Like, straight up, same universe. It is. I'm hoping Ryoma shows up. Here's the thing, right? He could. He could. And that's the funny thing, because, like, real life, Ryoma died in the hotel. Like, there's the chapter near the end of the game in Ishin that is, at least in original Ishin, I haven't played Like a Dragon Ishin yet. Zero cost. Chat. I didn't even realize that I had done that. My grammar is failing in my excitement. That could not be a more perfect run of a mission in Metal Gear Acid than what I just did does not exist. Literally. It does not exist. Zero cost, not found, 0 kills, no damage. Literally, you cannot get a more perfect run of a mission than that. Incredible. Sorry. I had to point that out. 0 cost showed up.
No pregnant, only breed. Unless you pay me 80K.
Okay, you know what's crazy? Hold on, that quote is crazy. They priced the Desert Eagle at 20,000 points. And the Desert Eagle is a good card, but it's not an amazing card. But you know what showed up in the card shop earlier that was not only gold foil instead of like the silver one, and was priced at like 2,500? Where is it? Not Rex, that was expensive. Solid Snake MGS1, which heals you for 500 HP for only 6 cost. And for some reason, they think that the Desert Eagle is worth 8 times as much as that card, despite being a more common card that is not as good. What was my objective? Didn't read it. It's not letting me. It's not letting me pop out. What the fuck? It's not letting me pop my camera out. Eliminate enemies is what we're doing. Sorry, yes. Ryoma could legitimately show up in the earlier time period, like the 1910s era of Stranger Than Heaven, because in real life, Ryoma died in the hotel, hence why there's a chapter near the end of Ishin in that hotel that's called The Assassination of Ryoma or something to that extent. I don't remember the exact name. But like there's a chapter at the end of the game called that, where he doesn't die, but he walks into the room that he dies in real life, like real history. And they just named the chapter as like a nod to the real life history of Ryoma. But in the Yakuza universe, he's still alive. Well beyond when he was supposed to die. Assumedly. We don't see that far beyond the game, but one could assume he lives happily ever after post Ishin. So if they wanted to stick him in for fan service and like a fun, you know, again, like alternate history link for the Yakuza universe to have, that could be really fucking cool. Using him in place of an Amon fight could also be really fun. But to be honest, they'll probably just do an Amon fight, because they always do. I did see a super legit theory about Stranger Than Heaven being a Daidoji setup, where they like broke it all down, even to the name and everything. And it, unfortunately, given the direction that the narrative in general is moving towards recently, makes a lot of sense. Like as a speculation to make. Because, you know, lore-wise, they're supposed to be in the background, like, operating the entire time, is what we are told once they're actually introduced. And, like, Kiwami 3 retcons stuff to facilitate that. And honestly, the theory with the name, like, with the reasoning behind the name Stranger Than Heaven is cool as fuck. If you have not heard it, the theory goes a little something along the lines of, like, you know, the Daidoji is largely made up of people who were supposed to die but actually lived and now are part of like this shadow organization operating in the background of the main narratives. So what would be a fate stranger, if you would? And I'm not doing the theory justice because I don't remember the way they phrased it, but it was honestly really cool. It's like, what is a fate that is stranger than dying and going to heaven? From the perspective of someone who assumedly doesn't believe in it. Maybe dying, believing that you are dead initially, like having that moment of like, oh my God, I'm dying. But then you don't die. And instead you get like pulled into this shadow organization that's like, hey, you work with us or we actually kill you for real this time. And you just get forced to go along with what they say. And just from like a naming standpoint for this game, it actually makes a lot of sense. And honestly, even though I'm not big on the whole characters not really dying and actually going on to do other things in the background retconning thing, the near-death Illuminati, exactly. It actually, like, just from the standpoint of the name, it's kind of cool. Like, as much as I hate to say it, like, it is kind of cool. I'm not entirely against the idea just because, like, that being kind of the twist at the end of the game, just imagining that is like, oh, that's kind of sick. That, like, the twist has been there in the name the whole time. You know, it's one of those. It could be really cool. I'm just saying. It could be. If done right, it can be really cool, not gonna lie. Could be super cool, to be honest. And if done well enough, to be real, aside from like a small portion of the fandom who will inevitably never give in to letting it be cool or being able to enjoy it, aside from like a small portion, I feel like if done well enough, it could kind of flip the sentiment on this organization around going forward. Maybe not entirely, but I think it could definitely make a lot of the community see it in a more positive light if the game that exists to set all that up ends up doing it well. It could legitimately lead people to be like, you know, this Daidoji thing ain't so bad, actually. Did the Yakuza series really need something like this? Depends on execution, but so far the execution's been questionable at best. Does the Yakuza series need something like this? Is an interesting question that I may have an unexpected answer to. Did it need something that was exactly like this? No, not at all. Did it need something similar to bridge that gap and facilitate more conspiracy narrative stuff going forward? Yeah, it kind of did. Like, it kind of did need something similar to what they have done. Not exactly what they've done, but something along those lines to be able to facilitate them keeping that general narrative structure that the franchise has had since the original game. Like literal Yakuza 1 PS2 of all this crazy shit that just seems like Yakuza dealings at first ends up actually being like this big, large conspiracy in the background. That has always been the inevitable twist in every Yakuza game, right? There's always been something bigger going on. ever since the first game. The literal first game makes it seem like his conflict centers around Kiryu, only for the big reveal at the end to be like, no, actually, this had nothing to do with Kiryu, and was entirely about this conspiracy with the Japanese government getting involved with the Yakuza and working with them to cover up some other shady shit. So they kind of did need something, and I think the point of introduction also makes it interesting, where they first introduced the concept in Yakuza 6, which was a game that was very much intended to be the send-off to Kiryu's character. So they kind of did need to set something up there that allowed these sorts of stories to happen outside of Kiryu and the Tojo clan.
But I'm aroused. I'm scaroused.
Going forward, while still keeping it somehow connected to those prior entries. Like keeping some sort of through line. Like, as much as it feels weird to say it, they kind of did need something like that. You know? They needed something to allow it to go beyond what we had known it to be in the mainline franchise up to that point. Because at the time, they were intending to just get rid of Kiryu and assumedly move on from the Tojo for at least a little bit. But then, we all know how that went long term, right? Like, they ended up bringing Kiryu back and still largely focusing on the Tojo. But the reason they were introduced in the first place was to facilitate them moving on from all that, while still keeping something there. Keeping something to, like, hold it all together. Some narrative glue, if you would. So what's the end game? That's kind of the thing. Like, they set this all up in the first place to be able to move on from what the franchise had always been narratively, and like the people it had always centered around. But then when fans wanted those older things back... Oh fuck, I ran too close. They just 180'd on it, but they've kept going with the whole Illuminati shadow organization thing at the same time. So I don't know what the end game is for them right now, to be honest. Like, that, I feel like, is where the did we need this becomes more interesting as a conversation, because it's like, did we need this given the initial plan and what they were trying to do? Kinda, yeah. Do we need it now that that plan has essentially been 180'd and they've gone in a different direction? No. Yet they keep going with it. Right? So it's weird. Like, that's where it becomes weird, is that they kind of made a move to undo that shift away, but that the tool that was set up for them to shift away is still like the central focus right now. Oh, fuck me sideways. What did I just do? He's gonna turn around. Fun. Hasn't played the Daidoji games. I mean, I've seen the setup, and I'm relatively familiar with what they are using them for because of Kiwami 3. I was staying away from spoilers, and I still, like, I don't know shit about what goes on in Yakuza 7, 8, Gaiden. But Kiwami 3, I was able to, you know, keep up with because it's a remake of Yakuza 3. Only for the big retcon there to essentially reveal what this organization is going to be used for going forward. So now I know a little more than I realistically should know, given where I am in the series. Which was a bit of a whoops, but I couldn't have known. I couldn't have known that they were going to retcon Kiwami 3. Or sorry, to retcon Yakuza 3 in Kiwami 3 to fit like Yakuza 7 and 8, you know? I could not have predicted that. I thought I was safe to just engage in Kiwami 3 discussion. And that got thrown right back at me. You know what? Since I have it. It does make sense for them to be involved with Yakuza 3. I just didn't realize they were going to be retconning to that extent, is what I'm saying. Just Mine got picked up by the Daidoji, who are a spooky shadow org. Well, they get introduced in Yakuza 6. So I already like knew the name and knew that they were like this shadow organization who was actually responsible for a lot of the big stuff that had been going on. That was stuff I was familiar with. But the fact that they're picking up characters from earlier points in the series, like Mine and why can I not think of his name? Hamazaki. That is some strong spoiler territory that I guess I wouldn't have known until I played Kiwami 3. I think. I don't know. Don't follow up on that. I said that before I thought. Don't follow up on that thought. Oh, I'm getting shot here, aren't I? No, I'm not. I thought it was going to be him that would shoot me. They lost me? The alert is going down. They actually lost track of me. That's kind of hilarious, actually. Oh, he still didn't see me. It's the actual timeline split thing they were talking about. Well, I don't think the timeline split is going to be that bad. To maybe put myself at risk of being not doomer enough. I don't think the timeline split will be too much of a problem, only because Resident Evil has like the exact same timeline split. And for the most part, it hasn't caused issues there, mostly. Like it is relatively simple, at least in Resident Evil right now, to just be like, yeah, there's the classic timeline where like 1 through 4 original events take place, and then there's a remake timeline where 1 through 4 remake events take place. And for Resi, which has very convoluted lore of its own, that's been a fairly straightforward, like, simple concept for the community to wrap their head around. And it's pretty much exactly what Yakuza is setting up. Because like with Resident Evil also, the classic timeline ends at Resident Evil 6. And then the remake timeline picks up with Resident Evil 7 and onwards in terms of mainline games. And again, like that's been a simple thing that the community has been able to wrap their head around thus far. Could get worse, but Ari never had a divergence as bad as the Hamazaki thing. I don't think the Hamazaki thing, well, we don't know. I don't think it will be too significant, at least currently, because like my guess with that is kind of what Hasriel just said. I don't see that going too far beyond like Saejima getting out of prison in Yakuza 4 wasn't a coincidental escape. It was actually a planned part of the larger conspiracy. I don't see it getting much worse than that. Like, I don't see it being used for much more than that. It really comes down to like whether or not Hamazaki lives through Yakuza 4's events. Like that could be a much larger divergence. But changing the intention of Saijima's breakout
Just turn around and
wouldn't-
this big figure just pounding me.
wouldn't affect too much. It could, I guess, if they took it a specific way. Like if they took it in a different direction than that. But I don't see them doing that yet. It depends on what they do with whatever the remake of 4 ends up being, since it's apparently not going to be titled Kiwami 4. My thing, though, to be fair, is Kiwami 3, if they did use Kiwami 3 as a setup to this larger divergence and split into a new sub-franchise that they're going to be doing going forward, I don't know why they would call Kiwami 3 Kiwami 3. I was trying to find a simpler way to put it, but I don't know why they would title that game Kiwami 3. You know? Like, if they knew they were going to be making big retcons that would set up a new timeline, and that timeline would facilitate a new sub-franchise of remakes, like, why stick with the old sub-franchise name outside of getting more copies of the game sold, right? But I honestly don't think it would have hurt Kiwami 3's sales relative to what they ended up being had they been straight up about like, yes, this is a Yakuza 3 remake, but we're doing our remakes a little differently going forward, hence the name change. I think that would have gone down with people pretty easily, actually, in all honesty. Because yeah, Yakuza 4's story, like working the whole Daidoji thing into it, seems like a pretty easy thing to do, right? Particularly with Hamazaki. I think a way bigger wild card than Hamazaki being changed up is Mine still being in play going forward. I think that is way more significant than Hamazaki's intention being different. I think the fact that Mine is still around will inevitably have a much bigger impact on the franchise going forward. Because Hamazaki's thing almost seems like clearly laid out already. You know what I mean? Like it feels like you can just see what's coming in terms of like Saejima breaking out of prison was part of the grander conspiracy, not just a coincidence. Mine being alive changes a lot. Like a lot. Because then the question is, why did we bring him back? Like where is he going to be used going forward? If it's just in like Yakuza 9 or whatever, it's not too crazy. But what if it is in like a Yakuza 4 remake or a Yakuza 5 remake? Because that could be pretty significant, I would say. What about Ryuji? I was about to also say, like, someone like Ryuji being revived almost feels like an inevitability to me, at least now. Because, like, why only bring back Mine, despite the fact that they can't go back and remake Yakuza 2 to facilitate Ryuji? They could easily get around that by just doing it anyway. You don't necessarily have to go back and set it up ahead of time. You mean 9 could be a retelling of 4 with a different perspective? No. I'm saying, like, the easiest, simplest thing to assume as far as, like, why did they bring Mine back and prevent him from dying is that they want to use him in Like a Dragon 9 and have him be, like, a major player in that game. That's, like, the easiest baseline assumption, whereas, like, with Hamazaki, the easiest baseline assumption is changing the circumstances of Saijima's escape, right? But what if they're doing something more significant with Mine and the general timeline rewrites that they're working on? With, like, if they do remake 4, which they've hinted at, they could have Mine play a role in the events of the rewritten Yakuza 4. Or assume it goes beyond just Yakuza 4, like Yakuza 5, if we're doing a whole new sub-franchise, will be subject to the same rewrites. So maybe Mine comes back and plays a role in Yakuza 5 going forward. Like, there are so many crazy fucking ways that they could use Mine going forward, now that he's in play again, so to speak. That honestly, like, I think that's a way bigger deal than Hamazaki. Who is in the Daidoji? As far as we know 100%, as far as I know 100%, I should say. Because as far as I'm aware, they make appearances in games that I have not played. Hamazaki and Mine, for sure. Ryuji, probably. Not confirmed, but probably. Just because, why only Mine? Why stop there? Going forward with the timeline rewrites, people like Aizawa would make sense. Right? People like Munakata from Yakuza 4 just kind of makes sense. Like, we haven't gotten there yet, but it's not too wild to just assume that those couple of characters will inevitably get brought under that wing, right? It really is one of those introductions story-wise that could potentially change, like, not just everything going forward, but also, you know, everything that we've already seen from Yakuza 4, 5, 6, potentially. 6, probably not, because 6, they introduced the Daidoji in 6. So, probably not 6, but 4 and 5 definitely are subject to a lot of narrative changes with this introduction going forward. Being blackmailed to do the bidding of the Daidoji, I don't know anything about this series. As far as I understand, I think so. I think it's basically like my understanding of the Mine thing, which is not perfect because I haven't played it, but from what I've picked up from discussion and the couple of like screenshots I've seen, it seems that when Mine normally would have died, someone from this like shadow Illuminati-esque organization popped up and was like, hey, you work for us now. Like going forward, you just do. And he was like, well, shit. And then after that, he went to the other guy and was like, hey, Hamazaki being the other guy, went to him in an alley where he normally in the story would have gone and stabbed Kiryu and gotten thrown in prison. He went there and stopped that from happening and was like, hey, you work for us now. You just do. Don't talk about it. Don't question it. You do. So assumedly, yes. Or at the very least, if not blackmail, it's just like a threat. Like, yeah, we're real scary. If you don't, we kill you. It is probably very easily what it could be.
Slay girl, pussy boss.
Unless they just set them up about to die to manipulate. That's kind of the assumption from me, at least, is that it is something like they're just tied into so much that they know when big shit is going down, and they get there just in time to like swoop in and be like, hey, no. This is what we want to happen. Yeah, they have leverage. Can you shut the fuck up? Jesus. Good lord. I didn't continue the campaign, but we got a shit ton of credits, which we're gonna need. So I'm happy with the progress. Anyway, it is about that time. I gotta get back to video work. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy and you haven't done so already, feel free to go ahead and leave a sub, follow, whatever. Come back another time. We're doing this. We're doing all sorts of other stuff like Resident Evil, Yakuza, Ace Combat, all sorts of stuff. Come back for any of it. Also, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. Helps out with algorithm and stuff. I would appreciate it. Thank you if you've done so already. Thank you if you're about to do so. If you're looking for links to anything else outside of Twitch or YouTube to engage with the community, check out links in the description below. Things like Twitter, Discord server, whatever you're looking for. If you're on Twitch, those are on the channel page. They're in chat commands. You'll be able to find whatever you're looking for. Other than that, though, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you always back here next time. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming to the stream, and goodbye.